Hello, everyone. Today we have an amazing guest here, Georgia, from our community, Brand Builders Academy. And Georgia will share her story with e-commerce. Now she does about 900,000, sorry, 900,000, $900. That
Would
would
be
be
nice.
nice. That, that would be amazing, right? So Georgia does $900 a day in sales with her e-commerce business, and she'll be sharing her story. How she got here. All the learning experience, so that we can all learn, and you guys watching can also learn from other people who are where you want to be. So Georgia, thank you so much for joining me.
No worries. Thank you for inviting me and having me on.
Yeah, thank you. So you're from UK, right?
Yeah, so originally from London, but currently living in Colombia, which is nice. Beats
Nice.
the English weather, the English winters.
Nice. So yeah, when did you move to Colombia?
I moved here this time round in November, so I've been here a few months now already. Because I came here in March last year
Uh-huh.
and stayed for 3 months, and then moved back here.
Nice. How do you like it there?
Oh, it's lovely. I mean, obviously, it's like completely and totally different to Europe, but the weather's incredible. The food's really good. Lots to do. So I'm still like very much new to the country. It's huge. It's like I don't know how many times it is bigger than England, but it's giant, and I feel like every weekend there's something new to do.
Nice. So how did your journey with like
Yeah.
with e-commerce? How did you get in commerce in the first place?
So my e-commerce journey has been around for a while. So I don't know, let's say about 8 years ago, about 8 years ago, I started buying just stuff from charity shops, so like thrift stores. Books, clothes, just random things, and I would sell them on eBay. And I didn't make a lot of money, but obviously people bought it, and I was like, oh wow, like people really buy online, like this is a thing. And obviously that was like a lot of work, and it wasn't really sustainable because I had to physically go and look at all the stock. Like there's only so many hours a day, right? So
Hmm.
I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way. And then I was on Instagram and I found a course for like this guy selling an eBay course, basically drop shipping from Amazon to eBay. So I did that for some time, same thing, saw some results. I'm like, okay, second project, making money, this can work. That did eventually
How,
dry
how
up,
much
and then
money
I
you were
bought an
making at
Amazon
that point
course.
with that model?
Oh no, not much. Maybe like £500 a month, something like that.
Uh-huh.
But I was putting in a lot of work, so it didn't really match up work-wise with what I was doing. And so then I got into Amazon. This is where things really started to change. I bought I bought a couple of Amazon courses actually. Um, I I worked like ridiculous hours, but I did manage to scale it to a point of doing about 80 grand a month
Okay. Cool.
in revenue, not profit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then my teachers at the time basically said, okay, the next logical step is to go into FBA, because at that time it was all FBM. And I was like, okay. And this is where things just started to, I don't know, my path changed a little bit. So I don't know what it was, but I feel like every shipment I sent into Amazon had a problem. It would get damaged. There was IP complaints. There was issues with returns. Like you name it, I had it. It was like every single shipment. So I was like, oh, no, this can't be good. So then I basically said to myself, like, I'm going to go back to what works, which was the model I was doing before FBM. The profits are better, it was smoother, I know it more. So let me just take a step back and focus on that. And this is where things got fun. So I had to contact my accountant to basically let him know my changes, and he wasn't replying. I was like, this is weird. Anyway, cut a long story short, my accountant ran off with a bunch of my cash.
Jesus.
My company had, yeah, like it was really a horrible time. My company had to close. I was in like really bad debt, and I was like, oh, I need to figure out how to
Oh
fix this.
wow.
And then so I started another little company of basically utilizing the contacts that I've made in Amazon, like contacting my wholesalers and brokering out their stock, their deals to like other Amazon sellers. So I was able to get back on my feet, and that's when I basically saw your Instagram, and I I always knew I wanted to be in e-commerce, but at that point I was so frustrated and like, I don't know what avenue to go down. Amazon's just, I'm sick of it now. So yeah, then I, found BBA, and that's when everything changed. That's given me like a new sort of like energy and new excitement for e-commerce, and yeah, it's brought my love back for it, because it was definitely some tested moments.
Wow, this is crazy, and this is like when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and in our own business, there's always these challenges that kind of I mean, if you look from outside, right, or even like if let's say someone told you that you're getting into business and here's what you should expect, right, like bam 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 bam, and you're like maybe
Yeah.
not. So but
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah, for sure.
the
For
price
sure.
of success, right? In as you're going through all of these challenges, like
Yeah.
you're learning something new, and you're becoming smarter, you're adapting faster. But that's just kind of for people watching, that maybe don't have a business. When you get in business, you will probably have some issues, challenges, but the only difference is like
Oh, for
whether you
sure.
decide
Yeah.
to like adapt, move forward, find a better business model, find a better way to do things, or just
Yeah.
not do that, and do what most people do.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, because in the end, like, unless we're trying to create a new rocket to go to space or something, generally speaking, the majority of things we're trying to do has already been done. And
Mm.
people have had these same problems times 1,000, like more than probably we can even comprehend. So that also gives you a peace of mind when problems happen in business, because they do. You've got to think to yourself, like, okay, calm down. Like, it's not the end of the world. Somebody's gone through this, somebody's had a solution. And I need to get myself on that level where I can find that solution, because it's out there. It's definitely out there. And if that means networking, reaching out to people, putting yourself out on a whim to contact people, then so be it. But the answers are there. It's just, you got to find them, basically. So I totally agree with you.
What was your career before e-commerce? Like, what did you do?
My background is in sports, soccer, football.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what I was doing. I was always playing in the UK. Went to university in the States. I ended up dropping out after my second year, I think, to go and travel and play some more. But yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing. Obviously, women's soccer doesn't pay a lot, so I always had to do like side jobs, and that was actually a big reason, like, why I always pushed towards having my own business, so I could have that freedom to kind of train, play, without having to get up at stupid hours.
Wow. And so, like, are
Yeah.
soccer players, they making a lot of money, or not necessarily?
I mean, now it's a lot better, but when I was like really playing, and that was, really my full focus, like, it was one in 100,000 would make more than like $3,000 a month or something. And in London, that doesn't go a long way.
Wow. And so you mentioned, so
Yeah.
it's in, you mentioned you relocated recently to Colombia, right? Which is, one of the benefits of running online business in general is that you can move, countries, right? You're not attached to a particular, place, city, like,
Yeah.
especially if kind of the cost of living in a particular place doesn't justify, the quality of life that you're getting, that, and like just, so this is fascinating. How that decision came to you, like why you decided to change countries.
Oh, well, my partner's from here, so that was obviously a big thing. But before that, we were living in Barcelona. I really love Grey, but I wanted to put myself in an environment where what I'm spending has more value. So in
Mhm.
London, that's not the case. London, you can spend a lot on rent and bills and everything, and you don't, for me, for what I like, you don't really get a lot. The climate is a huge thing for me. I like to be outdoors, and so that was big. Yeah, I did. I moved to like quite a nice place. So I'm still around a lot of like the hustle and bustle. I'm still around a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who want to grow and scale. Because obviously that's a really important thing as well, like your general environment. So that's why I picked it here.
Nice, nice. I've heard there's a lot of e-commerce people in Colombia.
Yeah, in Medellin, that's it. That's where I am. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
nice.
huge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So so you basically did e-commerce in different kind of and different business models, and those are all great business models, and probably you can make them work and you can make them
Mhm.
successful. But what was the main kind of what did you like about, for example, our model, more like having your own website instead of Amazon, selling,
Yeah.
selling products that are kind of without buying the inventory up front, stuff.
Yeah.
What did you like about this model?
So I've got quite a long list of things I really like about BBA and this model. One of the big things is I truly believe that if you can find a way to get your customers' data, you can always make money. Um, with Amazon, you never have that data. I never get a customer's email. I never really know who they are except their name and their shipping address, but that's it. And with this, I love the fact that you can know your customer, and it's up to you to adjust your page, your messaging to improve your conversion rate. And on a lot of other platforms, you can't do that. And I don't think people genuinely understand the power of that, because when you're limited to this is what your page looks like, and you can make some small changes, that's fine. But the only thing you can really work with there is pricing. Whereas with this model, you can, I don't know, let's say I'm selling a glass, right? I can
Mhm.
make the page look cheap and sell a glass for $5, or I can market it as the best, nicest glass you can find, and you can charge, I don't know, $50, and you can target different people, and that's what I love, like that freedom to market and adjust your target is incredible. It's incredible.
Mm.
Obviously, as well, the whole idea of like verifying and validating a product before you invest a lot of money, that's huge. And I think it makes it really accessible. I mean, for me at that point in my life, it made it really accessible. Because if it was a thing of like, oh, you've got to invest 50 grand into a product, like it just wasn't me right back then, and this is a lot better because it's like, okay, it's achievable for most people. You might have to make a few sacrifices, but you can do it. And that's huge. I love that.
What was the just for people to kind of have more context? What's usually the investment that you have to make, like with Amazon? Let's say you want to do like Amazon, how much money you have to spend on inventory and like other expenses to get it started?
I mean, let's say you want to make, I don't know, 3 grand a month, for example. I'd say you need to at least invest like 20 grand on stock. And that's, because you have to account for their fees. They just added even more fees in. You've got to account for holds, you have to account for returns, damaged stock, like the
Wow.
whole lot. That's for like the wholesale and FBA method. Because obviously drop shipping, you're not really supposed to do it on there. So yeah, and then if you do FBM, then obviously you have to calculate like your own time of like picking, packing, labeling, shipping. Like it's a nightmare. So I would say you definitely need a lot more to get similar sort of numbers. You need way more money to invest into Amazon than this.
Wow, and it's fascinating because you've been kind of you've been on the both sides of things, right? Like
Yeah,
you've been hands on, you've been through all of the pains of that of those two
yeah.
models. Did you find your accountant eventually or no?
No, I
No?
even I even sent the police and I started a whole court case and nothing. He just like disappeared. He ran off. You know how it can be, but yeah, he just ran off. So left me
Wow,
with some nice penalties and things like that. It was
wow,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
This happens in business. So what was the kind of
yeah.
once you
It taught me a lot, but yeah,
yeah, yeah, we're paying for lessons. It's in business. It's like that also. Like as I'm, yeah, for people watching, it's
yeah,
you'll probably make some mistakes. Probably there will be some unethical people along the journey, and
yeah,
you just have to deal with it and move on.
for sure, for sure.
There was this story like very similar actually from Mark Cuban. I don't know if did you read his book? He has this like
I haven't read his book.
it's an amazing book. It's actually How to Win in a Sport of Business or something like that. It's
Okay.
very tiny book, so it's very easy to read.
Hmm.
But he literally had exactly the same situation. Like they were growing the business, everything looked good, like on surface, and then their accountant just ran away with
Oh no.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very similar.
It's
And they also
Crazy.
never heard from that person again.
Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah.
So when you started with was your own brand, like was Shopify initially, I assume drop shipping model,
Mhm.
like what was your thought process in terms of like choosing the products that or the niche that you wanted to go in?
Yeah, so I wasn't really set on a certain type of niche. I had a pretty open mind. I realized that online, like, there's no limit to what you can sell. There's always a buyer for what you want to sell. So I tried to keep open minded in that sense. Obviously, a lot of the tools that BBA provides was super helpful in streamlining that process. And I've always had this problem of like being able to take an idea that's huge and it down to like, this is what will work. And so the spreadsheets and tools really helped me just say, okay, this is the criteria. If it doesn't fit this, it's not going to work, or it probably won't work. So that was huge. And even in terms of like, obviously now, because of my past experience, like making sure financially it's going to work is super important for me. And with this, that off the get-go. So that was also very helpful. That was a big part of this. And I did the whole thing of like finding my products, speaking with the coaches, getting them yes, no. And it's really interesting because there's some stuff that I thought, oh, this is amazing. And then obviously speaking to people who've been around longer, like, that's it's probably not going to work. Have you thought about this? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have we have the benefit of just kind of like so many data points, right? And
Yeah.
our team is speaking to so many people that we see, in many cases with a high probability what can and cannot work. And yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of it is because I'm in other, I'm also in masterminds and other groups where people have more experience, they're older than me, so they're giving me feedback on things that, oh, I never thought of this, from this perspective. And like kind of like it's fascinating, as you said, that whatever you want to do, there's people who already done it, right? And you have to find
Yeah.
a way, either paying with your time, with your money, to get in front of those people, become friends with them, get the information, get the ideas, because yeah, everything that we want to do. And the next level also, like in business, it's also someone is already there, right? All we have to do is just
Yeah, for sure.
awesome.
For sure.
So what niche did you decide to focus on?
So I tested quite a few products in different niches, but the one I'm in right now is health.
Health and beauty.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so, is that something that just you you feel like it's easier to market, it's easier to sell those kind of products because of the pains that it solves, or there's other reasons that you went into that niche?
So I picked this. So this is actually the 10th product that I've been testing, and it's the one I have results with. So the reason I picked it is because I hit a wall. If I'm honest, I hit a wall, and I was like, I can't find my product. And then I just calmed down for a minute and I thought, what problems do people have? Because essentially that's what you're trying to solve. And it's so funny because it's something that the coaches say since the very beginning, but obviously I just wasn't ready to hear it. So I was like, hey, focus on the problems. What do people want? What do people want?
Hello, Georgia.
That
Oh, sorry,
into the health and
I
beauty
lost you
and
for a few seconds.
oh, sorry, no, yeah, so I was just saying, so I focused in on those problems and then ended up in health and beauty and just kind of like followed that process but in that niche.
Uh-huh. It's interesting, right? Because we had these conversations many times with also other people in the program as well, that oftentimes, let's say we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and we're selling to people who are in their 50s and 60s, right? And we don't even know like what those problems are, or what those pains are for those people, because we're not
Yeah.
them. And so
Yeah.
what was your process of like discovering, like did you do some like research, did you like spy on some funnels, some ads, like did you what kind of help you to kind of like adapt your marketing
Yeah.
for that audience?
So reading reviews really helped me.
On Amazon, right?
People pour their on Amazon. People and also Reddit and forums, different things like that. People pour their heart out online, right? People are so open and honest, and especially when they can just hide behind a name, they just can be brutal, you know. And so and so I was really trying to understand what people's pain points are, and also in terms of products, like what people don't like about what's out there, and then kind of using that to understand the customer, understand what they want. And also, I'm really fortunate to be really close to my grandma, so I also spoke to her, spoke to some of her friends, that kind of stuff. So
Nice. Our team also, our team has family members, and so our audience for most of our products, like women, 40, 45 plus, and they're talking to their moms. Oh, I just talked to my mom. I just have like three other angles we can test.
yeah, literally.
Nice. One interesting thing that you just mentioned, that exploring alternative solutions, right? And understanding what alternative solutions people have used before, right? That probably didn't work for them, and utilizing that as part of your marketing message. Because if we think about it, it's, most of the customers that we are selling to are people that have bought other products, similar products, products in the same niche, product that solve the same problem. So, and those are usually the best customers, because the buyer is a buyer, right? So they have the tendency to buy and to solve their problems. And so I think it's a great point for everyone listening to whatever product you're selling. Just understand what are other alternative options, what are other alternative products people have bought before, because then you can use that to differentiate yourself, from those products, and position your product differently.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So when it comes to like website and stuff, do you use like landing pages? Do you use product pages? Did you build the websites yourself, or you hire someone to help you?
No, so I just used the Shopify theme. I on one of my products, I was testing out a landing page, but I mean, in the end, it wasn't profitable, so I didn't use it. But what's nice is I'm through the course, obviously, just understanding the different options out there and how they can work for different types of products, price points, that whole thing. But for me right now, my product, I've just got a standard Shopify product page, like low upfront cost, pretty easy to create. So
Nice.
that makes my life a whole lot easier.
Nice. And do you use Facebook or TikTok?
Facebook.
How do you like Facebook?
Yeah. My demographic. I like it. I love it when it brings results. I had a ban for like 2-3 months that kind of held me back, because even I bought a setup, it didn't work. It was a whole big thing anyway. But now I've got it up and running, and I was able to properly test. It's phenomenal. Like I never understood how it's actually just crazy, like how you can target so many different people just by changing a color or an interest, whatever. It's incredible. So Facebook for sure I love it.
Yeah, it's usually, with those platforms, like, I mean, whichever platform, there's usually like initial learning curve, but once you understand the power of it, like the same way that you kind of like when you understand the power of, having your own website and owning your data of customers, right? You can like ask them questions. You can see, what kind of tickets they're sending. You can see, what questions they have and stuff like that. And so, and that helps to refine the messaging. The same with Facebook. Once you understand the power of it, and I mean, one of the things that we do internally is on kind of like on refining the marketing message is, let's say we have comments on our ads, we're taking note of those comments, and then let's say if people asking the same question more than twice, or people asking some questions maybe we haven't clearly answered on the product page, then we are incorporating all of that into our product pages, into our funnels, so that our message is more on point with what customers want to see.
Yeah, definitely. It's the insights that Facebook give you is really good, and the comments and the type of people engaging in your post and page. Because, for example, like I made a mistake with what I just said before. I said, oh, when Facebook works, and actually like Facebook works, right? Like it's us, the people using it, that sometimes don't understand how it works, which is different. But when you grasp that and you grasp the concepts which can make that machine move, it's super powerful.
Awesome. So are you planning to use like any funnels? Are you planning to do like any kind of more fancy stuff?
Yeah, definitely. For right now, I'm trying to just focus on scaling this to like a number where I feel like, okay, this is good. Then I'd like to start split testing different landing pages, funnels, that kind of stuff, and then also incorporate more products into it, because I feel really confident in this product. I feel really confident in the niche, the problem it solves, and I definitely see a future with it. So it's something I want to explore and test and try out a lot of different things.
How was it with the ads? Do you use like image ads or video ads?
I've used both. Right now, my most successful one are image
Oh,
ads.
interesting.
Yeah. But that also is probably me still kind of like refining my video editing and getting better in that sense. There's not a huge amount of content for what I have, so that's why the video, like I probably wouldn't buy it. I know I'm not really like in the demographic, but even so, I probably wouldn't buy it based on that. Whereas a picture ad, I'd be like, oh, okay, like I understand this could work. So I'm just trying to focus on that right now until I can get to a point where I can get my own content and make the videos that I want.
Awesome. So do you edit your own videos?
Did I what? Sorry.
Do you edit your own videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you learn that skill? I didn't edit any of my videos since I started. Somehow I kind of surpassed that like right away. Hired people and somehow those has worked. But
Yeah.
like, how did you learn that skill? Like, did that come naturally to you?
No, the course helped a lot. How sort of like how a video should look, a video ad should look. I had a basic understanding of how to like sort of like split, crop, edit, but like very, very basic. But in terms of like what people look for and what sells, no, I had no idea. And that was definitely all from the course and very much learned. It's not a natural talent. I'm not like an overly creative person that's like, oh, this could work with this. Like no, I'm not.
So we had a question here on Instagram from someone, like, do you consider like, so it's kind of the way I look at it is, right? Maybe I'm prejudiced against this, but e-commerce as a skill, right? E-commerce and as you're accumulating all of these skills like video editing, understanding how to market, how to sell products, how to position, how to build pages, how to build funnels, how to understand economics, how to read your data. And so I personally see that as a tremendously valuable skill set that, times will change, technology will change, right? But if you have this skill set of building business this way, right, then no matter what happens in the world, like, you'll find your way and you will be able to make money. So what do you think about this kind of like e-commerce as a more like long-term skill?
Yeah, so I think if we look at the plain facts, e-commerce grows every year. It gets bigger every year. There are a lot of transferable skills, regardless of the avenue you choose in life in terms of business. There's a lot of transferable skills that you could take from e-commerce and also bring to e-commerce. Most businesses at a certain level operate the same in terms of finances, managing cash flow, managing operations, managing people, managing stock, whatever. But yeah, there's a set of skills that you learn with e-commerce, which I truly believe can help you in so many areas, even in life in general. The whole thing of not giving up, of being motivated, on understanding. I mean, you can just look around your house, right? Everything was created from an idea, and that should give you some sort of like inspiration and motivation. Like, oh wow, somebody designed this chair, a glasses case, whatever, and that can help you. That if any idea you have, it works. Any idea somebody's had has been brought to life through, maybe not e-commerce, maybe it was built before, but now going forward will probably be brought to you through e-commerce. And yeah, it's here to stay for sure. maybe in
Wow.
different ways, but it's here to
Yeah.
stay.
It is fascinating. You mentioned that I started, I started paying attention. I have this camera here. I have
Yeah.
this, this computer here. I have this cup. There's some people even selling these, kind of
Yeah.
like customized cups and mugs and stuff like that. There's obviously iPhone, which is probably bought, online through e-commerce, which
Yeah.
is, electronic commerce. Like obviously it's very, very established brand at this point. This table I bought online, was delivered to me. And it's so, if you think about it, right, like as you're accumulating these skills, okay, for whatever reason you don't want to run your own business, right? There's many different parts of running a business. There's many different factors, but accumulating the skills, I mean, getting like a career, like becoming a partner in the e-commerce company, if you have these skills, if you can bring something to the table and help that company grow,
Yeah.
it's tremendous. So one way or another, you're accumulating something that's, that is here to stay, and something that has value in,
It's
in the real
useful.
world.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Awesome.
the skills we learn with e-commerce are so useful for sure. I totally agree.
Cool. So how do you we had a question here. How long you tested before you started making consistent sales? And Bria is asking, that the same person, how long should I test before moving on? And also, how much should I spend on ads for each product? Let's say it's a $45 product.
Okay. So in terms of how many, it wasn't so much on how long I was testing, it was more products. I've hit my winner for my criteria on my 10th product. I did make some mistakes with my first few products. I overspent on them. I wasn't so strict. I set aside an ad budget and I was like, oh, this is what it's here for. I kind of had that attitude without thinking, okay, but if this was a business that's bringing 100 grand a day, I can't have that attitude. Like, you need to be strict and build those habits from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did spend a lot of time and too much money on wasted products. But since I understood that concept, I'd say I focused on a range of different priced products. So this one's $45. You should test, probably run a few different ad sets, and when it gets to your break even point, if it's not working, turn it off. Like, don't fall in love with an interest, don't fall in love with something that, if Facebook's telling you this doesn't work, just follow it. Like, until maybe you get to a point where you're really advanced and you can maybe revisit it with different ads, that kind of stuff. But initially, just go with what it's telling you. That would be my biggest bit of advice on how much should you test.
So what would be your budget? Let's say you allocate, like, I don't know, 100, 200, 500. Like, what is a budget in most cases for you to see if the product has traction or not?
So I always just do the break even. So right now my product is $100. I let my ads, if I'm testing a new ad, I let it test up to $50. And if there's like no add to carts, nothing, I turn it straight off. But generally speaking, I've always seen like 1 or 2 add to carts by the $25 mark. And then I'm like, okay, this is working. If there's nothing even by $25, I keep an eye on it. And then I'm like, no. Obviously the cost per click, different aspects or different factors also play a part in it, how early on I turn that off. But if the cost per click is healthy, click-through rate's healthy, but just people aren't buying it, or people aren't adding it to cart, then I turn it off. But yeah, so that would be my price point. For a $50 product, which I did test in the past, I was turning them off by like $15 if they weren't working.
Interesting. So yeah, and it also comes down to what we touched on previously, where Facebook just has so much data. Facebook is so smart, right? Like, Facebook, if you give it the right inputs, which is your inputs are the
It
product,
really is.
the website, right? And you put it in front of Facebook, so Facebook knows where to put those impressions, right? Obviously, it learns, and it's like it has its own like learning curve. But overall, it's so sophisticated at putting the right products in front of the right people to get you, the advertiser, what you want, which is sales, because they know if you're getting sales, you'll probably spend more money on ads, and that's pretty much their core business model.
Yeah, it's what they want.
Yeah. So What is the have you made like any hires like at this point, like in a business, anyone to help you, or are you doing everything by yourself for now?
No, so far I'm doing everything by myself. That was probably a mistake I made in my last business of trying to outsource so quickly that I didn't fully understand even what I was asking them to do. And it's funny you asked that, because when I first started BBA, that was my priority. Like, okay, there's a lot of content to take in. I want to make this work. I'm going to hire somebody who's better than me to do this. And yeah, that works, but you very much have to understand what you're asking for, because if not, it's like if you ask for rubbish, you'll get rubbish, right? Like, so so I'm still doing it myself. I want to get to a point where I fully understand the ins and outs of the business, and then I'll outsource.
Yeah, this is such important lesson. I also learned it like the hard way, where, and even like it kind of happens. It happens on every level of business. Whether you're just starting out or you're already doing very well. There's you have to understand at least like the bigger picture, what you want that person to do that you're inviting on the team, and
Yeah.
kind of what are the KPIs for them, right? Or what are the even like desired outcomes that you want that person to achieve. Because if you don't know that, I mean, the person's like, they probably also don't
Yeah.
know that, right? It's like no one knows.
It's like the blind leading the blind. We're just like, oh, do you have that? No. Did you know that? No.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So and that comes even like with we've had this experience with even well-paid executives. We hired on our team. These are 150, 200 and above a year, and we're saying, oh yeah, they come with experience, they probably know everything that they'll just come in and they'll build their business for us. And I'm like, I'm probably going to Colombia. I'll just chill over there. Like that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Even those very smart people, they need to be led,
Yeah.
they need to be managed. Like you have to evolve as a leader, like to manage those people. And eventually, initially what you
Yeah.
do right now, it's I think it's the right thing to do. You kind of like all of the departments in your company. There's a customer support, there's marketing, there is the processing, there's a cash flow issue. You have like a good understanding of all of the areas of the company. And then as your business starts to grow, it generates more profit, then you certainly have the ability to hire someone, but at least you'll have the understanding of what that person needs to do, at least on this level that you were doing it. And then obviously if they come with some experience and they're able to get that even to a higher level. But at least you have
Yeah.
broad understanding of what is a desired outcome for that role.
Yeah, because even like let's use two different demographics. You can use, I don't know, 18-year-old who bought a product on TikTok. That like a younger generation naturally expects faster responses from things. So where's my order? They want a response that same day. But maybe people 55 and above are willing to wait 48 hours for a reply. So let's say I hire somebody onto my team to work in customer service and they're used to working with an older demographic. When I've got people who are 18, 19, 20 saying, hey, where's my order? Messaging 5 times and they don't get a response. Well, that results in a lot of problems. And so that's why like I'd want to understand even how my customers are contacting me, the format, the ways, the wording, and then you can try and teach that to somebody else. So your messaging as well as a brand is consistent.
For sure. We had a question here. How do you decide which drop shipping companies to use?
So I used both AliExpress, CJ, and Zendrop. AliExpress obviously is just at the beginning because it's just like manual work. Do you know what I mean? So I use that at the beginning. I currently have stock being ordered into CJ. It's better pricing, but meanwhile, I'm using Zendrop. I do really like Zendrop. I think it's really simple and easy. But until my stock comes in, I'll be using them. But then after that, it will be CJ. And after that, will be CJ.
Awesome. And then another question: is ad quality extremely important?
Yes. In terms of like literally like the quality of the ad, how it looks, yeah, it's super important. I this sounds stupid, but I think sometimes we forget that we're trying to sell using these ads, and to put out, again, if you put out rubbish, you'll get rubbish. If you put out something that just doesn't catch attention, that maybe, it depends on your market, right? If it maybe looks too much like an ad, if it doesn't look like an ad enough, you have to understand that and then put the ads out, because if not, you're just going to waste a lot of money and you'll have a longer learning curve, pretty much. So it is definitely important to have a good ad quality and relevant, obviously.
Mm-hmm. We had another question here from Instagram. How much capital is required to start e-commerce business? So in your experience, like how much capital did it take you to get initial traction with your business, with this model?
Yeah, so I set aside $3,000 for advertising and sort of getting going again. I would say that I wasted at least $1,000 of that badly spent, and probably another 500, even up to 800 on like should have been more strict, let's say. But I genuinely like now with my experience, I would say, like, if you learn those lessons quickly and make decisions quickly, accurate decisions quickly, and you follow the criteria of like a good price product, I think you can do it within $1,000 and get some good movement and start going with it. Definitely.
Yeah, it's like Facebook. So I mean, if you read the official documentation, Facebook says like, yeah, I mean, you have to have, each ad set needs like 50 conversions per week in order to learn. There's like a learning phase and stuff like that. So I think it's important for people, if you're new to Facebook, to realize that that's not necessarily the case, that data will come in very fast. And for example, if first day of testing, you're testing a product and your cost per click is like $5, then it's not very likely that will drop, right? It's like either works or doesn't work from the beginning. I learned that the hard way, and you probably
Same.
too.
I'm like, oh, it's gonna go down tomorrow. Oh, third day, it's going down. It's fine. $100 that off.
Yeah. And we had another question here from Motivazione. Some Italian person here. Can I start if I'm less than 18 years old? This is fascinating. We have we have a lot of people just exploring. I'm older, in this space. I'm older, so yeah, people are experiencing and exploring these opportunities very early on. We have even people in BBA. You probably know, like some, I think 15 or 16 years old. Like we have very sharp individuals, and it's I think that's the beauty of it, right? That like no one will judge you how old you are, right? Where you're from. So I'm from Ukraine. I had to overcome all of these obstacles, including the payment processors and stuff like that, to just get in business. But the opportunity that we all have is just insane. Like compare it to 20 years ago, where you were not able to do much, right? There were not many opportunities. There were not a lot of education. There were not a lot of tools. There were not a lot of even like demand. People didn't even know that they could buy stuff online. Now, no matter how old you are, what race you are, where you're from, like everything is so much more, accessible.
It's totally open. Like eCom doesn't discriminate. Like if you are 70 years old and you want to go ahead and launch your product, like no one can tell you no. If you can learn the skills and do it, go ahead. If you're 15 and you want to do it, go ahead. So it's really good. It's really good.
Awesome. We have a question here from Cornelia. Do you run into issues of the product not being able to be sold in a particular country? If so, what you've done to fix this issue?
I haven't personally run into that problem. From the get-go on AliExpress, like I put in where I'm going to ship it to, and if it doesn't ship from it, because there's some products which didn't ship from the beginning, I just avoided it. I don't know how that would work with sort of like the emerging markets. I couldn't comment on that, but in terms of like the top 4, I think like the majority of products could be sold.
Also, we had another question. How much time it took you to get results? Like how much time it took you to get like some traction with your e-commerce business?
So I joined BBA in May. I had my ad sort of like, I was pretty stagnant for about 2 months. So I'd say since December, I've been really going at it, like really focusing on testing again. Yeah, since December. And I did have results with 2 of the products, but they weren't really what I wasn't happy with it. They were results. Maybe for somebody else it's good enough. For me, it wasn't. That's not what I wanted. So yeah, like let's say 3 months, really testing. Because I think before I thought that tests needed to be really complex and take a long time. And sometimes they don't. You put your product page together in a day, your ads maybe in another day, and you launch them on the 3rd day. You let it run for the 4th day. And before I was like, oh, a test in 2 weeks, that's really good. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, what was I even doing? That's not good enough.
Interesting. I resonate so much with it. I've been through the same, like, and let's also create like a, people say like, oh, you need like SOP and you need like a project management dashboard and you need like a ClickUp or you need Asana like to
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's time and place for those, but it's initially you don't want to overcomplicate. And yeah, that's a big lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
Like if the faster you get the data, obviously you have to analyze the data and make kind of some. You don't want to just kind of like throw stuff against the wall and see what. I mean, that's what you do, but also you want to evaluate what actually sticks and why it's not.
Definitely.
So we had another question here. What is sync for cash on delivery in I don't know what is probably GCC? Is it Gulf area? It's like GCC, Middle East, maybe. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with cash. Like I've never done cash on delivery, so I couldn't really comment on it. I know in some markets, I think it's Italy, Colombia, that is the way to go because it's just what people are used to. But yeah, I've not really gone down that avenue yet.
Yeah, we've had some people in our program, I think they were doing hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in sales in cash on delivery in Colombia.
Yeah, the buying habits are really different here. It's actually interesting being here. Like no one buys on, like obviously there's people that do it, but the majority of people don't buy online and just pay up front. It's like, no, I'm not leaving my money with anyone until I have the product in my hand.
Yeah. So some markets, yeah, and that's also for people listening. If you're from I mean, I'm familiar with like selling in the United States, Australia, like kind of, Canada, UK, like Big Four. But there's certain countries that you just need to know the context of the country and what payment options are the most, mostly used by people in that country. And that's something that you just have to, there's definitely data on this, right? Like, okay, this country percentage of e-commerce transactions, like let's say, just online transactions, 10%, and 70% is cash on delivery. In that case, if you don't have cash on delivery, then your conversion rate probably will be very low. But
just miss it out, yeah.
But on the flip side, there's many countries, even Poland. In Poland, CPMs are like, I mean, someone told me like 2-3 euros or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's certain countries where yes, the conversion rate might not be as high, or the average order value might not be as high as you would get, let's say, in the United States. But at the same time, the CPMs are so much lower that it kind of the whole math and economics of the the business makes sense. So I would recommend for people to just look into the data for each specific country that you want to go after. And if it makes sense, if it's growing and e-commerce growing in your specific country, people using and buying products more, then just identify what payment options they're using. Is it cash on delivery? Is it like in Europe, Klarna? There's Ideal. There's different options that people are using. So you definitely want to be utilizing most frequently used payment options. So yeah, this one is good. So we had another question here. Could you give me a little info on your pixels as a beginner? How long does a pixel? How much time pretty much does a pixel take to bring results?
Well, your pixel, from what I understand, your pixels kind of can, or maybe your ads and your pixel get optimized after 50 purchases, 50 conversions. But your pixel starts effectively bringing in results as soon as you put your ads up, because it will track your purchases, your add to carts, that kind of stuff. It might take some time to get warmed up. I don't know how long that is. I'm still relatively new to Facebook advertising, so I'm not sure about how long it takes to get warmed up, but it does take time to warm up.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, and let's do this one more. So, how much time do you invest in your business?
So in my testing phase, I was investing anywhere from 3 to 8 hours a day. If I really wanted to just get ads out, get everything done, page put up, I'd even for a 12-hour day if I needed to. Fortunately, I'm in that position where I don't have a job to go to, so I have that flexibility. But if you work full time and you can spare like 3 hours, even 2 hours a day, you can definitely see results in this. Again, it's up to you and your decision making, but you don't need a ridiculous amount of time to see results.
Awesome. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you so much for maybe if you can share with people, like, I don't know, your experience so far in BBA, like kind of, us working together, and like, I don't know, any kind of like thoughts on that for people that might be looking to join.
Sure. So I have purchased quite a few courses in the past. Some good, some not so good. And hands down, and I'm not just saying this because we're on a call. I tell everyone, hands down, BBA is the best investment I have made into myself. And it's not even the most expensive investment. It is just the best one in terms of quality, in terms of the people you have access to, because that's a key factor, right? Like, you can have information, you can have videos, that's great, but being able to access people who have done what you're trying to do and way more, that's super valuable. You can contact somebody and get your questions answered pretty much immediately, so you don't have to wait in order to grow and scale. You can quickly jump over that hurdle and keep going. You don't really get stuck, which is, I mean, you have problems, right? But like, because of the support available, you don't get stuck there and waste your time, which is, it's incredible. And I think because of that, people are able to see results so quickly. Because if you tried to find all this information online and go to events and this kind of stuff, it would take you years. And you can tell because the quality of the course content is from people who have been in the game for years. So if anyone's sitting on the fence, I would just say, don't don't sit on the fence any longer. I understand that it's scary, especially, and this is from like, as a female to other females. As a female in business, sometimes it can be scary to make that jump. You sit and wonder, are these dreams too big? Do I deserve a seat at the tent? Yeah, you do. You absolutely do. And for anyone in business, if you have an opportunity and you've got like that desire, just take a jump. Like, at worst, you waste a bit of your time, but that's on you. That's not because the course isn't good. That's just on you. Like, so, and understand very much, like, if you want something different, and I can't say this clearly enough, if you want something different, you have to do something different. And sometimes that will be taking a leap and buying a course and devoting your time and effort to it. So I would really recommend it. I think it's incredible. And life doesn't need to be that hard. Like, there is an easier way. And when you work with people who've done what you want, that way becomes easier.
Thank you so much, Georgia. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I didn't. People are like, oh, did you pay Georgia? Did you pay Georgia to say that? No, we didn't. We didn't.
No, it's totally honest review.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I always we have these calls and I always establish like a next time when I have a call with you when you're doing $100,000 per month in sales, and I'm seeing that you thinking your thinking is on point, like you know what you need to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at that level, and thank you so much for your trust, investing in our program. And I'm happy that we've been able to serve you well, and there's a lot more to come. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah, I'll see you at 100K a
No, you're
month.
welcome. Thanks for all the effort you put into BBA. It helps thousands of people, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Georgia. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And I'll see you guys soon.